What's up, Grim? You are first. I feel like coloring, y'all. What's poppin'? Should I do my weed coloring book? And hit the pen the whole time? I've done some dope ones. For real, for real. Oh, I dropped my vape. Oh my god, it was sitting there. Whatever. I've got 2 other books here. 9 more minutes for 420, yeah. See, I've done some dope ones. I don't use marker, I use gel pens. I don't really like painting. I like using gel pens. That's why I use gel pens. I think I do just good the way I do it, bro. Like, come on. That's dope as fuck. I don't need to paint. I think I do just fine. It's not done, but I do good fucking work. Also not done, but still dope as fuck. I might finish that one. We'll see. Nah. We'll do one. I don't know who Goofy Boy is. You're Goofy Boy. I don't know what you're making fun of anybody. Yeah. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill. Crickets. I used to have crickets in the house, so you would hear them all the time. Like for my geckos. I'm gonna color the snake. It looks fun. Oh, that's pink as fuck. That's red. This chat be dead, bro. Y'all are way too quiet for me. What time is it? 3 minutes. At 4:20, we all gotta smoke weed together, okay? You're alive for now. You better motherfucking stay alive. The fuck? Oh, you guys will love this. It's a snake and a rose, and it looks really pretty. $4.19. Oh, I do have a minute. You guys ready? Wait impatiently. It says there's one person here. It's 4:19 still. What the fuck? Shit's not changing. 4:20, guys. .5 together. Wait, what? Oh, you guys must be, yeah. Must. It'll change in a minute and be like, there's 17 people there. YouTube's weird. I got over 1,000 views on my last stream, but nobody talks. It's just weird. Well, like, mods doing stuff, but, like, nobody else, you know what I mean? Probably. Good morning, Dale. I hope you do too. Thank you. There we go. Get all comfy so I can color. I swear, if nobody talks to me just because I'm coloring, that's crazy. I'm still gonna talk to you guys. I'm still here. I don't understand why you always leave when I'm coloring. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah, you guys. I'm being very specific about who I'm talking about. Just randos. Like, they come in and, like, just don't say a word. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. I like that you guys like to talk. I like to talk too. That's what helps keep the stream moving along. You know what I mean? Because we talk about things. It's easier to, like, transition from one topic to another when other people are talking as a streamer. That's why sometimes, like, when you guys are quiet, I just go silent because I don't know what to say. Oh my god, my eye. Feels like my eye is watering, dude. The clock speaks volumes. You can hear it, can't you? The one up there? Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that is the one you're talking about. I can hear it loud as fuck now you mention it. be honest, I love that clock. I will have a bird clock no matter where I live. Forever. Oh, why does red make my eyes water looking at red? I'm not asleep. My eyes are just, oh my god, I'm coloring, dude. I'm looking down and coloring. I'm not asleep. Can someone please tell Zane that I'm not asleep? She wasn't here for me to tell her that I was coloring and stuff. Yeah, they do me too. Ugh, well don't joke like that, Zane. It gets me in a lot of trouble. Oh my god. I do always color. I love coloring. I'm coloring a rose and a snaky snake. Guys, let's listen to some true crime while I do this. So we're actually listening to something too, not just sitting here. Oh my god, now my eye is watering like a bitch. Where's my mirror? What's going on here? Love that for me. No, I'm not crying. I wish I had snacks. X. I don't know why. It's like a. Oh my god, it's still doing it. Okay. Whew. Wow. It's hot as Satan's taint. How do you know how hot his taint is? Were you in that vicinity lately? It's like a wildfire yet a wetland, huh? What's up, Juan? What's up, Ernesto? How are you guys? Sorry, I'm just coloring over here. I also want to listen to some true crime stuff. Did you guys hear about the beauty TikToker killed? She was just shot.
But others have pointed out that she seemed very calm for someone who just witnessed what is essential. And into the eyes of her killer, Valeria Marquez was gunned down on film as she sat in her beauty salon in Jalisco, Mexico. And police are now hard at work trying to figure out who did this and why. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. A 23-year-old social media influencer and model who showed off her hair and makeup to thousands of followers on TikTok and Instagram is now being mourned in Zapopan, Mexico. Shot dead inside of a salon called Blossom Beauty Lounge. Now, some Mexican media outlets have claimed that Valeria Marquez herself had operated the salon. Others say she only worked there. That part remains unclear. But I'll tell you what is particularly chilling is that Valeria posted a selfie from inside the salon on Instagram on May 13th, showing off her outfit for the day. That is the same outfit that she would later die in.
That's
Valeria,
sad.
it seems, often filmed live content for her followers, not necessarily doing anything exciting, but just, going about her day. And at one point in a video on that Tuesday, Valeria recounted a story. She said she had been away from the shop when somebody apparently stopped by asking for her, saying they had a package to give her. So when employees offered to hold on to the package for her, this person, according to her, declined, saying it was something very expensive, so they needed to give it to her in person, and they left. Now, Valeria says on the video that she wasn't going to wait around for the person to come back, and according to the AP, actually theorized at one point that maybe the person had been coming to kill her.
That's
and that
scary.
leads us to approximately 6:30 p.m. that Tuesday.
That's
which is when
fucking
local police said all this happened.
scary.
Now, despite saying
No,
she was
we're
going
gonna
to
go.
leave,
Nobody wants to be in
Valeria
here,
is
dude.
sitting
When
on
I
a live
color,
stream,
nobody wants to be in here.
holding a pink stuffed
Period.
pig in her arms, happy, when someone off camera catches her eye. A spokesman for the Jalisco State Prosecutor's Office told the New York Times that two men apparently pulled up outside the salon on a motorbike, and one of them entered wearing a mask. Now, Valeria said in Spanish, "They're coming." Then a man said, "Hey, Valeria?" She responded, "Yes." And then for some reason, she reached over and muted the live stream so you can't hear her or the person off camera anymore. But that is when the shooting happened.
Ya viene. Hola. Sí.
So we frozen the video, but live stream viewers actually watched this in real time as someone fired a gun at least twice, hitting Valeria in the chest and the head. It is an unbelievable situation. It is incredibly disturbing and chilling. I've never, ever seen anything like this before. And get this, just a few seconds after Valeria slumps over, motionless, someone's seen picking up the phone and turning off the live stream. So far, that person hasn't been identified, but some online have theorized that the woman was an employee or client of the salon, but others have pointed out that she seemed very calm for someone who just witnessed what is essentially a cold-blooded murder. It appears Valeria's TikTok page has been removed, but at the time of this recording, her Instagram is still active. And I talked about how she had a significant following. People magazine citing 149,000 Instagram followers for
Holy
their
fucking
TikTok,
hell.
114,000 followers.
That's a
So
lot,
of
bro.
people looking day in and day out at the life of Valeria. And many people have commented, have expressed their condolences on her photos online. And despite the live stream being taken down, the Jalisco State Prosecutor's Office confirmed to the New York Times that snippets of the video that have been spreading like wildfire online, they are authentic. Now, here's something that's very interesting. The spokesman also said that the gunman asked who it was, like he didn't know who Valeria was. The representative told the AP, with that you can deduce, without jumping to conclusions, that this was a person who was paid. It was obviously someone who came with a purpose. There have been multiple theories
That's
floating
true, I
around
guess.
social media right now about what might have led to Valeria's apparent assassination, including that a close friend may have been involved in plotting the murder, although we have no confirmation of that or evidence to support that. But so far, the prosecutor's office hasn't commented on these theories at the time of this recording or what might have happened. By the way, actually right before this recording, we found out that another woman, 22-year-old model and also social media influencer, Maria Jose Estupinan, was shot and killed in Colombia when she apparently opened her door to a fake delivery person. So very similar to the allegations and what we're talking about here with Valeria days before. Apparently, there's surveillance footage showing the suspect in Maria's killing running away. Now, according to the New York Post, she had made a prior report for domestic abuse against an ex-partner. Don't know if that's related. Don't know if these cases are related. But my gosh, very strange that we have two women who are doing the same kind of things on social media being killed in very similar fashion. It is just eerily similar. So, to talk about the investigation so far, what's next for the legal process
You
once
guys.
police have their men or suspects, whoever these people are, I want to bring in a special guest. I'm joined right now by Germán Enriquez Cordova, Tijuana, Mexico criminal lawyer who will give us a lot more insight than we know. Because there's one thing I might know about the law here in the States. I am not as familiar as the law in Mexico. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And welcome to Sidebar.
Thank you, Jesse Weber. Thank you for your trust. And, well, I'm here to respond all the
I cannot
questions that you
breathe,
have.
y'all.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. So
My
first of
mom's
all,
still here, y'all.
my
Quiet
first
as
question
fuck.
is, what is just your reaction to this? I have to tell you, I cover crimes all the time. I've never seen someone shot to death on a live stream. I mean, this is something that is truly horrifying. And we watched the video. We didn't play it here. We only showed screenshots of it. It is so disturbing. What is just your reaction to seeing something like this?
Well, Jesse, yes, in Mexico, obviously, we see all the time serious offense like femicide, like murder. But yes, online, see online that femicide is obviously
My eyes are bothering me. What's
it's a
up,
surprise
X?
in Mexico for us, and obviously all the Mexican community, all the Mexican criminal defense attorney, we are surprised with that facts, and well, we hope that the prosecution and the justice arrives and determines soon who is the suspect and who is the defendant who commits this crime, right?
What up, you?
Hey,
Just
everybody, this is
coloring.
another law and
What
crime
about
legal
you?
alert. If you received
Trying to breathe
Depo-Provera
through my
birth control shots and were
nostrils.
later diagnosed with a brain or spinal tumor called meningioma, you may be eligible for a lawsuit. You see, Morgan & Morgan is investigating claims that patients weren't properly warned about this risk. It's free to check, just takes a few minutes, and you don't pay unless they win. So scan the QR code on screen, click the link below, or head over to
Lay in bed. Ooh, that sounds
forthepeople.com/LCDepo
nice.
to see if you qualify. I don't know if you saw this other story, but it just came out. There is a 22-year-old model and social media influencer from Colombia who was shot and killed, apparently opened her door to a fake delivery person. Are we seeing a lot of violence against social media people?
In Mexico,
It is what it is, yeah.
I don't know, maybe 1 year ago,
This is really pretty,
violence
guys.
for social or for influencers. We see an examples in Culiacan. Maybe you know about that. But yes, it's strange for us, for Mexico, to see the violence against the influencers. Yes, it's strange for us, and yes, I think, in my point of view, it's that violence is increasing for the influencers, right?
When you look at Valeria's story, does it look like the killer or killers didn't know who she was because they asked, it seemed to be, is she there? And that kind of gives clues as to what might have happened here. Do you agree?
Well, yes, it appears the shooters it doesn't know the victim, but well, in this moment we review the prosecution, media, and the press conference, and I think in this moment there's no suspect in this case. In social media, we read about persons, but I think, in my point of view, is that the shooter it doesn't know the victim.
Did you think it was strange, the woman who seemingly picked up the phone right after the shooting? At first, you don't know who this person is, and I'm not entirely sure who this person was, but that was very, very strange, no?
Yes. The community in Mexico, the point of view for the community, it's strange that the person who takes the cell phone, uh, it seems like take it easy. I don't know if that is the word. Wait, take it easy, take the phone, and well, that seems
This is
that
fun.
maybe she knows something about that, right?
Your bed just lays
Right.
there.
Yeah, it's strange. I want to ask you about the legal system in Mexico. So, what does it take to arrest somebody? Here in the United States, we have probable cause to make an arrest. What does it take to arrest somebody? What kind of evidence do you need to make an arrest?
Yes. In Mexico, it's similar than the U.S. In Mexico, we need a probable cause to arrest someone. When the prosecutor has evidence, obviously the femicide, mm, the prosecution has evidence for the femicide, for the crime, for the offense. But the prosecution needs to go for more proofs for the suspect. And when the prosecution has this evidence, he's going he's going to go with the judge to go for a warrant order. And when the prosecution get the warrant order, he can arrest the person who is the suspect in this case. But yes, it's similar than the U.S. We need that probable cause, who is it's necessary to go for the first appearance to the preliminary hearing, right?
Mm-hmm. And we here in the United States, a criminal suspect, a criminal defendant has certain rights when they're arrested. You know, they have rights to due process. They have rights against improper searches and seizures. Is there a Mexican constitution? Do criminal defendants have rights to say, my rights were violated when this arrest happened? How does that work?
Yes. Actually, the Article 20 for the Constitution Mexico law established the rights for the defendant. He has a lot of human rights. He knows what he's arrested. He can try to nullify the evidence. How can I explain? If the evidence who is recollected for the prosecution is violent the human rights or the human process, that the criminal defense attorney for the defendant can try to eliminate that evidence for the defendant. But yes, it's similar the human rights for the defendant in Mexico than the U.S.
You had mentioned femicide. Is that an actual charge like murder, or is it a type of murder?
It's like a type of murder. Actually, around 20 years ago, it's not the femicide is not sized in Mexico. The representatives, the congressmen, and the congresswoman in Mexico reformed the law around 20 years or 15 years to incorporate the crime for femicide. And yes, the difference between the murder in first grade and the femicide is that the femicide, first of all, has several penalties, around 40 years to 70 years for jail. But when a person, first of all, needs to be a woman. In femicide, the victim needs to be a woman, obviously. Second one, if the suspect or if the guilty person killed
Oh my
the
god, my
woman
throat,
in
y'all.
a hiding place, or
Oh my god, it
if
hurt
the
just to swallow.
suspect or if the guilty person
I'm
is
over here trying to
family,
swallow
maybe
and my throat was
husband,
like fucked up.
or well, this is the points that different the femicide for the first degree murder.
So,
Homicide.
if it's a stranger, let's say it's a hitman, okay, it's an assassin, would this classify as murder, or could this be femicide? And if it is murder, what's the punishment for murder?
The punishment for murder, it depends. Remember that this happened in the state of Jalisco. Guadalajara, Zapopan, it's part of the state of Jalisco. So in Mexico, similar to the U.S., we have penal codes in each state. Okay? So in Jalisco, the penalty for murder is for 30 years to 60 years for jail. And femicide, it's 40 years to 70 years for prison. In this case,
That's what it
it's going to
sounds
be
like, huh?
investigated, and I don't have doubt that it's going to be investigated, and it's going to be
Sounded like the guy was
sentenced
laughing.
if the person is found guilty for femicide, because there's a lot of main points that the crime is going to be charged by femicide. The persons surprise the victim with a shotgun, and it's going to be femicide. That I can guarantee that it's going to be that charge.
So if they're looking at 40 to 70 years in prison, do they get parole? Could they get released early?
No, it's gonna be difficult because when the suspect is gonna be arrested, and if he's found guilty in a trial, he's gonna be sentenced. Well, for example, 50 years. And in Mexico, it cites the benefits of the law when a suspect, when the guilty person has the 50% or the 70% for the penalty accomplished, he can go for the benefits for the law. But in this case, in femicide, the law is not prevent that. So my point of view is when the guilty person is going to be found guilty, he's going to be in jail minimum 40 years and max 70 years for jail.
Does it take years for a case to go to trial? So if someone is arrested tomorrow, when could they go on trial in Mexico?
It's okay in Mexico, the Constitution is not prevent exact timeline or a time that the defendant is going.
You're dumb as fuck. Nobody has fucking lice, you dumbass. You're actually stupid. They couldn't come up with anything else. Like, that was... that was kind of lame. The video stopped, sorry.
Gonna be on trial. But
For 40 years. Yeah, it was
it's
dumb as
usual
fuck.
that
Just
in
childish. You
these
can tell they're like
cases,
12 years
in
old.
popular cases
Adults don't even
or
think about that
cases
shit.
that the population is interesting, the trail is celebrating around 6 months. Around 6 months, when the until or since the person is going to be arrested. Actually, the congressmen and the congresswomen in Mexico, it's trying to reform the law to prevent that the maximum time to celebrate the trial is going to be 4 months. But in this moment, it's not a time that we have to celebrate the trial. But for example, or in the practice law, the trial celebrates around 6 months in these cases.
In the United States, it could take years from an arrest to actually have a trial.
In Mexico too, but in not popular cases. In Mexico, it's so political, the criminal law and the criminal cases, it's so political. So when cases like this, like Valeria's case, it's happening, the prosecution, the judge, the court tries to celebrate the trial as soon as possible.
And I want to talk about the investigation too and what might be happening, but I wanted to also ask you, is it proof beyond a reasonable doubt to get a conviction? That's what we have here in the United States. Is it similar or the same in Mexico?
Yes, it's equal in Mexico. Actually, maybe you don't know that, but in Mexico, since 2008, reformed the law about the criminal process, and it's similar to the criminal process in Mexico. It's oral, similar than the U.S., but we don't have jury
Biden didn't die.
here in Mexico, or when the
He was
prosecution
diagnosed with cancer,
can
though.
prove beyond reasonable doubt, the judge is gonna be. The judge needs to find guilty the person. Yes, it's equal in Mexico than the U.S.
And if there's an arrest, does that person make bail? Could they make bail in a case like this or no?
No. In Mexico, the bail is not working like the U.S. In Mexico, when a person is arrested, the prosecution needs to prove with in front of the judge that the person needs to stay in jail in the process because he's a danger in freedom. Obviously, in femicide, when the person is arrested, he's going to stay in jail. Obviously, for the victim, because maybe for the maximum penalty for femicide, 70 years. And obviously, with all that proofs and with all that facts, that person who is arrested is going to stay in jail all the process. The bail in Mexico is not working in these cases.
So now let's talk about if there's going to be an arrest. So talk to us about what is happening with the investigation. Do investigators, do authorities, do they look through surveillance video? Are they looking through Valeria's social media activity? Are they speaking to witnesses? What does an investigation typically look like in your country?
Yes, Jesse. Yes, first of all, when the police and investigators arrives to the crime scene, they need to recollect the videos, the blood in that scene, and well, yes, the prosecution and investigators is gonna try to get the texts and information for the social media for the victim. WhatsApp, Snapchat, Messenger. Obviously, the prosecution, to get that information, first of all, need to go with the human rights judge, because that information is part for the privacy, for the victim, and the judge needs to give a permission for a prosecution to review that information. And yes, obviously, the prosecution and the investigators is gonna interview witness to review what's happening. it's usual in Mexico that maybe the police
Oh
has
my
a
god, his
suspect. Or,
voice.
yes, has a suspect. But first of all, the police is interview as a witness, and then when the investigation advances, that witness is changed to suspect. It's usual in Mexico, but yes, that is the usual investigation that the police and the prosecution realize in these cases.
Do you think there's going to be an arrest in Valeria's case?
Yes, Jesse. I don't know who, but just because in Mexico, as I explained you before, it's so political. And
Am I high?
the
Yeah,
governor,
a
the
little bit.
president,
Not really that
everyone
much,
is
though.
taking care for this case. And obviously, yes, it's gonna be an arrest because
Oh my
in
god, he
previous
cannot
cases,
explain
when a
things.
case it's so political, when a
He's been
case
trying to
it's
explain
so
why there'd be
violent,
an arrest for like 5
it's so
minutes.
influential, like this case, the prosecution is arresting one. I hope that is arresting the guilty guy because obviously with that evidence and with that information we can get a sentence on a trail. If the prosecution arrests the wrong guy, we can have a non-guilty resolution for the judge, right?
Oh, well, we don't want that. We want to make sure that the right person is ultimately apprehended for such a heinous, disturbing crime. I mean, how often do you see a crime committed actually on tape? It's pretty unbelievable and chilling, to say the least. Germán Enriquez Cordova, thank you so much for taking the time. Loved having you here on Sidebar, and really appreciate you watching the show as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube,
awesome.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.
Okay, Bo's try not to get triggered challenge. Everybody's been separating me from my best friend.
Jesus Christ. I can't with that. Holy fuck. Her video was funny last night, though.
Salon, but others have pointed out that she seemed very calm for someone who just witnessed what is essentially a cold-blooded murder. It appears Valeria's TikTok page has been removed.
I don't know. What do you guys want to listen to?
Her Instagram is still active. And I talked about how she had a significant following. People magazine citing 149,000 Instagram followers for their TikTok, 114,000 followers. So there were a lot of people looking day in and day out at the life of Valeria. And many people have commented, have expressed their condolences on her photos online. And despite the live stream being taken down, the Jalisco State Prosecutor's Office confirmed to the New York Times that snippets of the video that have been spreading like wildfire online, they are authentic. Now, here's something that's very interesting. The spokesman also said that the gunman asked who it was, like he didn't know who Valeria was. The representative told the AP, with that you can deduce, without jumping to conclusions, that this was a person who was paid.
Okay, what do you guys want to watch? What's up, Stoneface?
There have been multiple theories floating around social media right now about what might have led to Valeria's apparent assassination.
Sorry, I'm coloring right now, too, guys.
May have been involved in plotting the murder, although we have no confirmation of that or evidence to support that. But so far, the prosecutor's office hasn't commented on these theories at the time of this recording or what might have happened. By the way, actually right before this recording, we found out that another woman, 22-year-old model and also social media influencer, Maria Jose Estupinan, was shot and killed in Colombia when she apparently opened her door to a fake delivery person. So very similar to the allegations and what we're talking about here with Valeria days before. Apparently, there's surveillance footage showing the suspect in Maria's killing running away. Now, according to the New York Post, she had made a prior report for domestic abuse against an ex-partner. Don't know if that's related. Don't know if these cases are related. But my gosh, very strange that we have two women who are doing the same kind of things on social media being killed in very similar fashion. It is just eerily, eerily similar. So, to talk about the investigation so far, what's next for the legal process once police have their man or men or suspects, whoever these people are, I want to bring in a special guest. I'm joined right now by Germán Enriquez Cordova.
Oh god, not again, not that again. You pick, me pick. Okay, wow. Thanks, X. I really appreciate the help. We'll listen to the Amish teen one.
An alleged murder in Amish
Thanks,
country.
X.
This man is now accused of killing a woman
You
and leaving
love
her body
it.
in a home, reportedly with her goat inside.
That's
The
why you
suspect
have
just
your
made a
name
court
like
appearance,
that.
and
I
our cameras were there.
understand
He's now
now.
facing a charge of murder. And we have the 911 call from the day his housemate said he made a gruesome discovery.
Does she have a pulse or anything?
Pulse?
Yeah, is she breathing?
No, she's dead.
What that call tells us about what may have happened inside a home in a rural, secluded Amish community. Many of its members sat in court as the suspect faced a judge. And I'll tell you why some think this unique case may not be a slam dunk for the prosecution. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Christine. You don't often hear cases like the one I'm talking about today, because this case is an alleged murder that happened in an Amish community. We were in court for a preliminary hearing for Samuel Hochstetler. The 18-year-old is accused of killing 28-year-old Rosanna Kinzinger on March 13th of this year. He wasn't charged with murder until May 5th, and he reportedly continued to live in the Amish community where this happened. Kinzinger was also a member of that Amish community. Before we get into the details of this case and what the local sheriff's office is alleging, let me set the scene for you about where all of this is taking place. This is video from Meigs County, Ohio. This is a rural county. It's about an hour, 45 minutes south of Columbus. It's not that far from the West Virginia border.
That's close
We shot
to
this
me.
video ahead of Hochstetler's court appearance, and you can see just how many members of his community came to see him in court. Ohio has a large Amish population. Experts believe it to be around 85,000 people. The only state with a larger one is Pennsylvania. The Amish are a Christian group. They're known for their plain clothing, very simple lifestyles. Many rely on farming to support themselves, their families, and their communities. We'll talk more about some of the potential challenges in this case because it happened in an Amish community that both the prosecution and defense could face as this case moves forward. Police say the alleged murder happened at a home along this road in Rutland, Ohio. And you can see from this Google Maps image, there is not much surrounding the address that we have from local authorities. Here's the 911 call from March 13th when Kinzinger's body was found.
What it sounds like when you thank me. I know, it sounds goofy as fuck.
We got a death out here.
The voice you hear on that call, we believe is a man that Hochstetler was living with for months leading up to Kinzinger's death. His name is Mose Troyer.
And what was your name?
My name is Mose Troy. The one that's dead is Rosanna Kinzinger. She was just found in a bed like that, so we don't know.
She's dead?
Huh?
She's dead?
She's dead.
I'm gonna turn this down some.
Okay, what was your name again?
My name is Mose Troyer.
Fun as fuck.
So we were thinking we need a corner out here, so I guess you know how to do that.
Okay, and what was her name?
Her name is Rosanna Kinzinger. Rosanna Kinzinger.
How old is she, do you know?
Not exactly, but she's still in her 20s, I think.
Does she have a pulse or anything?
Pulse?
Yeah, is she breathing?
No, she's dead.
Okay.
She seems to be already stripped, so I think she's been dead early this morning or last night, and we didn't find it out.
Okay. So you think she died last night or this morning?
Yeah. That's our guess.
This is still so
So
loud.
she's dead?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. It's just too loud.
And you just found her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will they send a coroner out, or how will this be done?
We'll send them out to you. So you don't want to do CPR or anything?
I don't think so. You know, I don't think it's any use for that.
Okay.
You know, we just need whatever's law or need to be done. You know, we just need some help, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Deputies were then dispatched to the home along the rural road, and they found Kinzinger dead. Troyer told WSAZ-TV, which is out of West Virginia, that Kinzinger's goat was in the home when he went to go check it out. Deputies say that Kinzinger's death from the beginning was suspicious, but the initial autopsy returned inconclusive results when it came to the cause of death. It took weeks for law enforcement to land on Hochstetler as the suspect. The Meigs County Sheriff said they served search warrants, they interviewed people who might be connected to the case. In that WSAZ report, the 911 caller, Troyer, said that people had noticed that day that Kinzinger hadn't been seen. And so members of the community went to her home to see if she was okay, and that's when they discovered her body. Then he calls 911, and then deputies arrived. Deputies did interview Hochstetler on May 6th, several weeks
Damn,
after
y'all are
the body
quiet.
of
There's
Kinzinger
18
was
people in here.
found.
None of y'all are
As you can see in this
talking,
court
really?
document, the state of Ohio charged the 18-year-old Amish man with murder. According to local media in Ohio, Hochstetler confessed to having sex with Kinzinger and allegedly told deputies that he put a blanket over her head, and when they finished, he realized she was not alive. At his most recent court appearance, a preliminary hearing, we saw Samuel Hochstetler in an orange jumpsuit, in handcuffs, far different from that traditional Amish clothing that he was wearing in his booking photo. And an interesting part of that hearing was the judge offering Hochstetler an interpreter for Pennsylvania Dutch. That language goes back to the 18th century. According to a post that we found on the University of Wisconsin's website, it was originally developed in rural parts of Pennsylvania, and it is a common language that is spoken by members of the Amish community today, Hochstetler apparently included.
I was advised potentially that in addition to English, you spoke Pennsylvania Dutch. Okay, so I made arrangements to have an interpreter join us here today for this hearing. Do you feel that you can proceed here today in English, or do you wish Mr. Beachy to be here to interpret for you in Pennsylvania Dutch?
I thought maybe it would, but it might be easier for something.
Okay. Do you wish him to remain here on the line with us?
It's not too hard.
Okay, well, we've got him here, so we'll use him, okay? All right.
Hochstetler was soft-spoken in court, as you just heard there, but he did say some things might be easier to understand in court if he was told them in Pennsylvania Dutch.
So, Mr. Hochstetler, you understand what you're charged with, correct? Okay, you met with your attorney before coming here to the court, correct?
Not sure it is.
Yeah, okay, all right. You understand you have a right to a preliminary hearing this afternoon, but further, you understand that I have in front of me what appears to be a waiver of that right here this afternoon, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask you here in open court, sir. Is that your signature on the waiver?
I can't put it either. But I'm pretty sure it's the paper you had.
Okay, well, I want you to look at it to just confirm that you did sign that document, okay?
That's your signature?
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, sir.
What the fuck, bro?
All right. So
Yeah, he
I'll
put a
step
blanket
right
over her
to
head.
the
Isn't that
back.
crazy?
I got a chance to talk to counsel here this afternoon.
Who all's in chat right now, y'all?
That with full knowledge of your rights and voluntarily here today, you are waiving your right to this preliminary hearing. Do you understand that? All right. Furthermore, your case is going to be bound over here to the common pleas court further consideration by its grand jury. Do you understand that?
Not sure though.
Okay. So what's going to happen is your case is going to be bound over to this court, to the common pleas court, where your case can go to grand jury to be considered for indictment, or it can proceed directly in front of Judge Warner. You understand that? Okay. James, do you desire any further inquiry regarding Mr. Hostetler?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Trent, do you desire any further inquiry of your client?
Nothing further, Your Honor, thank you, sir.
All right. The bond is previously set at $1 million, shall continue. Anything else, James, on behalf of the state of Ohio?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor, thank you.
Trent, anything more on behalf of your client?
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Hostetler, we're all done here this afternoon. Thank you for being here.
That was the end of the court proceedings, but our cameras kept rolling as Hochstetler left the courtroom. And as he did that, he looked back at these several members of the Amish community that were in the gallery. And remember, Kinzinger was a member of this community as well. Take a look at this video as he walks out. Look at his face. You can see the tears rolling down his face as he wipes them, as he heads out the door and back to the county jail. As far as what we know about Hochstetler, beyond the fact that he's a member of the Amish community, according to that WSAZ story who spoke to the 911 caller Moyer, Hochstetler moved to this Amish community in southern Ohio from Kentucky in recent months, and he continued to live in the community where that alleged murder happened until his arrest in May. We don't have a picture of 28-year-old Rosanna Kinzinger. As a member of the Amish community, it's perhaps likely we'll never know what she looked like. But this is what the local sheriff said about her when he announced the arrest of her alleged killer. Quote, "This case was such a tragedy to those who knew Rosanna. She was a beloved individual in her community. Detectives have worked around the clock searching for answers and were able to get those answers. Hopefully this investigation helps bring some closure to the victim's family, and on behalf of the sheriff's office, we offer our deepest condolences." Joining us now from Ohio to talk more this case is criminal defense attorney Diane Menashe. Thanks for being with us here on Law and Crime.
What mods are here right now, guys? I
Have
really
a
need
case,
to
a criminal case like
know.
this in the Amish.
Unique. I know we were talking beforehand, and I had a sex offense case some years ago in Guernsey County, but as we sort of all know about the Amish community is they're very insular. And then also there's this other component of one of their tenets is to forgive and forget. So truly, if individuals in the community do learn or know of potential criminal conduct within their community, upon a confession, there is the tenet that they should forgive and forget. So makes for not a whole lot of reporting externally of criminal offenses within that community.
Yeah, what challenges, I mean, to your point, I mean, what challenges from, if you're a prosecutor in this case, you're trying to get witnesses, you're trying to get people to help build your case. I mean, what are some of the challenges? The fact that this happened in an Amish community and they're trying to figure out, how they can convict from the prosecution standpoint the suspect.
Well, I think, first of all, we've got a language barrier, right? We know that even the individuals that's charged, his native language is Pennsylvania Dutch. And I would assume that's true of much of that community, as is true of the Amish communities across Ohio. So you've got the language issue, and then you've just got this cultural trust issue, right? The Amish community is as we just said, is very, insulated. They don't use cars, they don't have electricity, and so there is just kind of a disconnect as to how sort of the rest of the world lives, if you will, versus their community. And therefore, when law enforcement comes in with their cruisers and their lights and their electronics, I think there's a real cultural divide there that will make it very difficult for the police to investigate this.
I imagine, too, because definitely from the prosecution standpoint, when you're trying to figure out and build your case, but even from the defense standpoint, I mean, you're a criminal defense attorney. I mean, what are some of the challenges that a defense attorney might run into? Because I assume that the suspect has never needed to deal with an attorney before.
100%.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm thinking I don't have any mods here.
To do field interviews, and we had to really spend a significant amount of time, 3-4 trips just to meet the individuals before before we could, start doing our investigative efforts. So, and I was on, the individual side, if you will. So, yeah, I think it's really difficult. There's a lot of trust building that you've got to gain, and which isn't necessarily true in mainstream America.
Oh wow,
And even for you
Hazy,
as a
really
defense
good to
attorney,
see you.
how in Ohio, and I know Pennsylvania, places like Lancaster, another place where there's a large Amish community, but like how available is a translator in Pennsylvania Dutch?
You'd be surprised about that. I think, because there's dialects, right? I think you would be surprised about that. But where I think that interpreter issue comes into play is that it sounds as if sort of the main piece of evidence they have against the individual that's been charged is his statement. And it sounds as if there wasn't an interpreter there when he made a statement. So I presume that could lead to suppression issues down the road as to whether that statement was knowing, intelligent, and voluntary. But that's yet to come. But it seems like an issue that will rear its head.
And when you look at this indictment, I know that initially the cause of death, it was suspicious, but it was inconclusive. And then now, there's a statement that apparently he says they were having sex, and then this woman ends up dying. What stands out to you about kind of the headline pieces of evidence that'll be at the center of this case?
Checked the Meigs County Common Police Court docket this morning, and it looks as if he's only been indicted on one single count, which is murder. And they indicted him under the A subsection, which is that he purposely caused the death. And what was interesting is the absence of any other alleged sex offenses in the indictment. There's no rape, sexual battery, nothing. And so one would the implication is that then the state's theory is that the sex was consensual, but at some point during this sexual, situation, that he then purposely caused her death. But I have to tell you, after I read the media and I checked the indictment, I was really surprised not to see any charged sex offenses.
Yeah, because I imagine, and you're the attorney, I'm not, but would that open the door if you're a defense attorney for this suspect, and clearly there's no surveillance cameras inside the house, that, well, they were having consensual sex, and then you could argue that it was an accident?
Well, right. And actually, the subsection, there's another subsection in Ohio under the murder statute that if you're essentially committing a felony and the person dies, as long as it's the proximate cause, you could be found guilty of murder. And so I say that because it's almost an easier way to prove murder, and they didn't charge him under that subsection. So really interesting, again, that they've just charged him with purposely caused the death. And to your point, there's not going to be any surveillance, and even it sounds like this was, this is a delayed indicted case. I mean, 2 months went by, right, before they even charged him and questioned him. So
I'm coloring, David.
Spoliation of evidence issue there as well.
Are you surprised that it took so long I'm always fascinated when a death can be inconclusive, and for then it to be, apparently, again, they were having sex and then something happened and then she winds up dead. But just in your experience, for it to take so long to figure out how somebody died?
Well, it makes it a tribal case, doesn't it? Like, how do they do an autopsy? It's inconclusive. Of course, we know from an autopsy, they're looking at things like, is force, cause of death, any type of trauma that would include, not just head, but all over the body, including vaginal. And they said it was inconclusive. And then it seems as if, based on their reporting and the media that I've seen, there's no DNA, there's no forensics. They just have his statement. And again, I think that will be interesting how that cultural piece, when they questioned him, if there was an interpreter there, etc., like how that statement, the efforts to suppress that statement, and then what will remain without it if they can get it suppressed.
Ignorance of the law isn't an excuse, but I assume in the Amish community, I mean, the idea of like Miranda rights and what to say, what not to say, that's something that they really don't know. Does the law in any way look at a community like this? And there are similar communities, I think, just very insulated communities of people that are not part of I don't know if mainstream society is like a fair word, but like, the Amish community, to your point, they're very insulated. Does the law see them any differently than they might if this case had happened in Columbus?
Well, the Supreme Court has certainly weighed in on what is a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of your rights. And one of the things to take into account is, someone's prior existing interaction with police, or their IQ, or their knowledge as to how the system might work. And I know when we were talking about that technology piece, but let's imagine the Amish don't have TV. They don't have interaction with police. So to your
Yeah, I'm
point,
calling. I'm not
only do they
sleeping,
not know about
Captain.
Miranda, they don't know what an inside of a police department looks like, being in a
I know it
cruiser,
looks
being
like
in a
I'm
car for the
sleeping,
first time.
but I'm
I mean,
not.
those are all types of things going to the station that I certainly believe will be taken into account, assuming that there's a motion to suppress forthcoming.
And I know we have a 911 call that was made by, I believe it was the roommate of the suspect. So he knew how to use a phone. And I know, I think people who, you live in Ohio, I went to school in Pennsylvania. I think people think that they're maybe less attached to technology than maybe we realize. Like they know how to use phones in many cases. But as far as kind of building up this case, what are some of the challenges, even if you're a defense attorney? And you're trying to figure out how you have witnesses that might be able to testify with you to kind of get past some of those cultural differences.
Yeah, I think first of all, just the defense attorney that's been appointed on this case is going to really have to come to understand, if they don't currently, that cultural piece, right? And then understand, to your point, the technology and how that community was operating, the access that he had or didn't have to her. And then I think it's going to be, as it always is, right, is keeping the state to their burden of proof, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In the absence of forensics, an eyewitness, an inconclusive autopsy, and maybe a suppressed statement, this could be a case that, that could well be very difficult for the state of Ohio to prove and meet their burden of proof.
And he apparently he gave a statement saying what happened, and then that's really kind of a key piece. What, just from your experience, are the conversations like with someone who's Amish, trying to get them to understand, like maybe if there's a plea that's put forward by the state of Ohio to get them to understand like what's happening when, they maybe have never been in a car, and then now they're looking at spending, he potentially could spend the rest of his life in a prison.
Right, and I know the bail is such right now at $1 million that he's locally incarcerated. I think one of the things that I did when I did this case is involve the elders. As you know, Chris, the individual that's been charged is just 18 years of age. So I certainly think part of that trust and building that relationship will not just be to have an interpreter, but to engage a trusted elder or someone within the community that you can use sort of as a liaison, if you will, because there are cultural differences. And while there's attorney-client privilege, you first got to build that trust up with the client, and that's also going to come with some education to your part. The laws in Ohio, or what does purpose mean, those aren't things that someone that is 18 and Amish would most likely understand.
Just take us in, as you live in Ohio, you've been to this county where this case is taking place. Just kind of take us inside what these communities are like for people who have never been around an Amish community.
Well, Meigs County is a very rural county. When you think rural Midwest, that's Meigs County. Very lower class type county. And with respect to the Amish, I know we were joking before we jumped on, but when you're in Meigs County, you're oftentimes on every road, sort of a country road. The buggies are in front of you. You can't pass. So when you live in those counties, you're very familiar with the surrounding Amish communities. And I will just tell you that there isn't a whole lot of intersection between, as we've been saying, sort of this mainstream America and the Amish. But they do have food stands along the roadside, et cetera, that cars can stop at. But really, otherwise, there is very little interaction. I think just for those that live on the coast and aren't familiar with living amongst, the Amish, it is unique for sure.
Yeah, you have experience, but also when you think of some of the people who are prosecutors, just the legal system, knowing that there is a pretty large Amish community in Ohio, how, for as unique as a case as this appears to be, at the same time, what type of experience do prosecutors typically have with the Amish and just kind of understanding what they may run into in a case like this? Or are there experts that you can hire who somehow have an understanding of the Amish community that could help either a defense or a prosecution?
You know, I have to tell you, this case is getting so much attention because it is the Amish piece, right? And so I think that does go to show that as much as, you know, these counties have a significant Amish population, we just don't see criminal charges against those in that community often. So I think even the prosecutors don't have a very good sense of how those communities work and the cultural divides. And also there's this forgive and forget principle, a tenet. I don't think we can forget that because they truly adhere to that. So that's very interesting. If someone knows that something's been done and someone owns that action, if you will, then the listener is supposed to truly forgive and forget, which would make difficult for witnesses. And I know that became a very interesting issue in the case I had.
And in the case you had, just to kind of dive into that for a second, because of that forgive and forget part, and I just imagine sometimes even for tough cases that there may be cases that'll happen, crimes that'll happen in the Amish community that maybe police on the outside don't really hear about. How did you learn of this case and this crime, this alleged crime? I'm not sure how the case ended, but just knowing that something had happened in the Amish community, because there's a lot of times we don't know what happens inside an Amish community.
100%. And in the case that I had, it was unique because my client was working at a farm stand that was outside the community. The instance was being spoken of, and someone that was not in the community overheard it and reported it. So very unique situation. And it was, you know, a delayed case by many, many years. And that's where the forgive and forget really came to be, you know, sort of key in the case that I had. Ultimately, you know, that was a good resolution in the case I had, but I really think these Amish cases present a real issue. And so we'll see how it works out. But just charging him with murder is pretty interesting, to say the least, particularly since he said that they were having sex and there's no sex crimes associated with the murder count.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case. I mean, to your point, it's headline news. We're talking about it because of the Amish part of it, because that makes it unique. But in terms of a murder case, it does seem that it would be, you know, a story that would be followed as well, because it's so unclear what happened. Where do you see this going from here? Now that he's behind bars, bail's been set, what could happen next?
You know, I think his defense attorney is obviously going to look at the competency piece, right? Just understanding his age, and we need to the defense attorney will need to understand, you know, his education, his IQ, his ability to be competent and assist in his defense. And then I assume also they're going to be looking at that suppression issue first and foremost and see if there's any way to suppress that statement. And if the statement is potentially, you know, suppressed, then is there a corpus delicti issue? You know, is there any other evidence that the state has? And if not, then the case would obviously have to be dismissed. But again, in all the media I've read, I don't see eyewitnesses or individuals saying anything nefarious about their relationship. It's just his statement to the police.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case. We're going to see how this continues to play out. Diane Menashe, thank you so much for joining us, not just from the legal perspective, but your expertise in dealing with cases involving the Amish community. Thanks for coming on Law and Crime.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.
We have a quick update on Lori Vallow. If y'all remember her Wednesday pretrial hearing on May 14th, it's in preparation for the Doomsday Mother's third criminal trial. Yes, her third criminal trial.
My hair.
Before she faces charges of conspiring to murder her ex-nephew.
It's a rose with snakes.
And how could you forget this most recent hearing after Judge Boreski channeled his inner Nancy Joe by responding to Lori's demand that he recuse himself from her case and asking if she was done yet.
Are you done? Are you done? Are you just going to keep... Are you done?
The term, "are you done?" has quickly joined "don't flatter yourself" as some of the best phrases coming out of Lori's multiple murder trials and hearings. And so to remind you of one of the main motions that Lori argued that day, minus her failed attempt at removing Judge Boreski, was a motion she filed declaring that she shouldn't have to wear a rack belt. Now, a rack belt, an RACC belt, also known as a stun belt, is something Lori has been ordered to wear by the judge as she represents herself in this third upcoming trial. Now, since Lori, a convicted murderer, doesn't have to wear shackles or cuffs as she represents herself, wearing a rack belt seems like a decent compromise to me. She also gets to wear street clothes, and the belt goes under the clothing and is not visible to the jury or those watching the trial from home on our Hidden True Crime live stream. We cannot see this rack belt. We just know it's there. So while Lori's motion requesting, or AKA demanding, that she should not have to wear this rack belt, while this motion was new this day for this recent pretrial hearing, this was far from the first time that we have seen Lori argue this issue about the rack belt. We first saw it come up at her previous trial during jury selection, just before her murder trial, where that jury of her peers found her guilty of conspiring to murder her then husband, Charles Vallow. Take a listen.
One more thing, Your Honor. I wanted a clarification. In your minute entry dated the 25th,
My eyes watering.
regarding the defendant's motion to remove restraints. So my understanding when I read what was from MCSO, and then you put in here, however, at the sheriff's discretion, one or more armed sheriff deputies may be positioned near the exits. So what their recommendation was the minimal amount of restraints, meaning if there was going to be an armed guard, then they would not have to do the belt. So I was confused by and wanted a clarification on what you were actually ordering, because the DOs had a question about it with me this morning. So
I ordered that you don't have to wear the leg restraint, but that you do have to wear the rack belt, because that is not going to be visible to the jury. The leg restraint's a little more cumbersome and visible, and since you're representing yourself and you're going to need to approach the podium and those sorts of things, I ordered the removal of the leg restraint. You will, though, wear the rack belt. And then I said it's up to the sheriff's office. If they want to, they can position a couple deputies in the back if they want additional deputies.
well, their recommendation was that you wouldn't have to use the belt at all if they had the armed guard.
I read their response and their recommendation, and that's my order.
So what is it exactly?
That you have to wear the rack belt, but not the leg restraint.
Well, that same judge, Judge Boreski, let her know then that she indeed needed to wear a rack belt if she wasn't going to be shackled. And indeed, she wore a rack belt during that entire trial. No one seemed to notice. I couldn't even really tell. Even though I knew she was wearing one and I was sitting in the courtroom not far from her, I never saw the rack belt. And even though we learned that this most recent hearing, that at one point the belt strap had slipped down behind her jacket and they discreetly excused her to fix it,
No, I'm
I
coloring.
still
I'm
did
not.
see it. Take a listen.
There was one incident during the trial where you asked to take a break because a strap was hanging down behind your jacket. We did that. We rectified the situation. There's been no indication whatsoever that the jury noticed the rack belt or anything like that. So I think those conditions are appropriate and will remain for the second trial.
Your Honor, the jury was not told to see if they noticed anything either. Was that correct?
Right. There was no request for that.
The jurors during that last Arizona trial also did not seem to notice the rack belt as well, according to those I interviewed and asked if they knew she was wearing this stun belt. Yeah, could you guys tell if she was wearing a rack belt or a shock belt? Did you know that?
No.
Did you know
I
that?
noticed she was wearing the same things, like rotating her shirts, but wearing the same.
Yeah, you noticed that. Same
Yeah.
suit, different day, right? Rotate.
Right.
But so yeah, and none of you could see that she was wearing this rack belt underneath.
No.
Thanks,
Or that
Brian.
she
I
wasn't
appreciate
cuffed, that
you.
She had shackles on, so the judge ordered.
No.
She was not happy about that, by the way. The judge ordered,
Really?
yeah, that she wear this rack belt under her clothes, which is a shock belt. And she argued that very much. She was not happy, and the judge said, "Well, it's what we're gonna do." So,
Right.
so you can never tell.
No, I can never tell.
Well, in Lori-like fashion, she doesn't give up. She clearly thinks she is always right. She knows better than the judge. She knows better than law enforcement, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And somehow, The idea that she should not need any restraints despite having so many murder convictions, she's now hit serial killer status at this point. She thinks that she is just fine to only need to have a guard at the doorway, security. And at this point, she is going to keep fighting. Take a listen to Wednesday's hearing as she argued once again this new motion one more time.
All right, then we have the defendant's motion for no restraints in trial dated May 6th.
That's crazy.
I don't
How
know,
could she think
in your
that she could
motion,
get
I
no
don't know where you
restraints
get
for
the idea
real?
that the sheriff's office
She's a fucking serial killer. She killed her kids
ever
and
was
other
that you have no
people and
restraints at all. Their minimum recommendation was that you wear a rack belt.
Well, I have it right here, and I copied it verbatim.
Yeah, you said what it said was my recommended minimum requirements as listed above, and those were to wear a rack belt.
It said, or the recommendation of MCSO was that they could have a unarmed detention officer and an armed deputy sheriff if I was to not have any restraints.
Right, but that wasn't their recommendation. I've received the defendant's motion. I've received non-party Maricopa County Sheriff Jerry Sheridan's response.
On the MCSO security justifications, my understanding is that was his recommendation.
Your Honor, Joseph V. Hill for the Sheriff's Office.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll deny the motion from the defendant. The same conditions will be set that we had in the first trial, that being you wear the rack belt, no leg brace. There was one incident during the trial where you asked to take a break because a strap was hanging down behind your jacket. We did that. We rectified the situation. There's been no indication whatsoever that the jury noticed the rack belt or anything like that. So I think those conditions are appropriate and will remain for the second trial.
Your Honor, the jury was not polled to see if they noticed anything either. Was that correct?
Right. There was no request for that.
And once again, denied. But did you hear that guy who stood up and introduced himself for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office? And Judge Boreski basically responds to him as, yes, thank you for being here, but no need to argue. Pretty much saying, look, I've got this, but thank you. Well, what we didn't know at the time of this hearing was that the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office had actually responded in writing with their thoughts about Lori's motion. And while Lori claimed that their recommendation, the Sheriff's Office's recommendation, was that she did not need a rack belt, what they came back with in their filing was pretty much the opposite. And this came down after the hearing to clarify exactly what was recommended so that Lori can't just put words in their mouth and claim that they ordered that she didn't need to wear it, because again, that's what she claimed. She claimed there was an order, an actual order from the Sheriff's Office that the belt was unnecessary. So let's read what the Sheriff's Office actually really recommends. And I'll read it here. Quote, after reviewing defendant Lori Daybell's motion dated 5/6/2025 regarding the removal of her rack belt during her trial, I have the following response. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, or MCSO, requests that the rack belt remain in play during the trial. MCSO disagrees that the rack belt can be seen under the clothing. This device has been used for over 2 decades by Maricopa County Sheriff's Office when inmates take part in their trials, and there has never been, to my knowledge, any evidence to date that a juror has been able to see or notice the rack belt around the defendant. While the belt is likely uncomfortable, isn't that great to hear? While the belt is likely uncomfortable, it does not violate due process or prevent a fair trial. Daybell is correct that the rack belts are universal and designed to fit a wide range of defendants. However, the excess slack from a smaller sized defendant does not stick out in any noticeable way and is tucked inside the belt line to hide it. Daybell claims there have been many issues with detention officers trying to fit the belt on her. I personally observed the belt being put on her once during her last trial and watched as the female detention officer secured the belt to her waist in under 2 minutes. It was my observation that the detention officer had no difficulty installing the belt. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has staffing concerns with having an armed deputy posted in the courtroom.
So she can't even
during
say
her
that.
entire
That's
trial,
funny.
as that would be one less deputy available to respond to
My
other
eye is
demands,
watering like a
warrants, and other calls for
bitch. Yeah,
service
people are
throughout the
messed up
court
these days,
complexes.
dude.
The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office Court Security Division is currently understaffed and operates at less than 50% staffing capacity. It's frightening to hear. But while Maricopa County Sheriff's Office staffing is not the defendant's problem, it is nonetheless an issue of concern for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and overall security with the court complexes. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office therefore requests the defendant to continue to wear the rack belt in her next trial. Boom. In defendant's day belt second motion, she requests additional time to meet with her legal team. I have met with Court Operations Command, and we have agreed that Daybell can choose to remain in the courtroom with her legal team during court proceeding breaks rather than return to wait in her holding cell. For lunch breaks and other times of recess, if she chooses to meet with her legal team, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office agrees to transport her to level 4 of the South Court Tower. There we have a built-in visitation area normally used for EDC courts with secured legal visitation rooms. We will provide her with her sack lunch, and she can spend the entire lunch break conferring with her legal team in this room. In addition, because this visitation room is in a secure area, that she can be unrestrained, end quote. So, let's read this line one more time directly from the Sheriff's Office. Quote,
Paisley.
The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office therefore requests the defendant
Scratching the couch.
continue
Cats.
to wear the rack belt in her next trial, end quote. Now, let's listen to Lori's words one more time, what she claimed on May 14th. Take a listen.
It said, or the recommendation of MCSO was that they could have a unarmed detention officer and an armed deputy sheriff if I was to not have any restraints.
Right, but that wasn't their recommendation.
Y'all, I will never understand the mental gymnastics that Lori forces us all to go through, ever. But I guess that is why she's behind bars. But as always, luckily, criminal psychologist, Dr. John Mathias is my co-host, a co-host I'm married to, so I get to pick his brain at every hour of the day. And John does seem to have a better grasp of what is going on in Lori's brain than I do. And a couple of nights ago, I was able to ask John all about the now infamous pre-trial hearing with Lori that I attended. And I will say Dr. John made some solid observations. I'll have you guys listen to this one.
I wish you had told her when she said that after like everyone on the planet. I wish he had said, "Don't flatter yourself."
Why?
You wish that he had pulled a real Nancy Joe.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was one of my favorite moments from our bonus episode, available now on Apple subscription or patreon.com/hiddentruecrime. If you want to see or listen to that full episode, you can head to Apple Podcasts or to patreon.com/hiddentruecrime. A link to that bonus episode with John describing what he thought was going through Lori's mind during this pretrial hearing is also pinned in comments or in the description of this episode. Make sure to check it out, and thank you to those who support us by subscribing to our bonus episodes. It's a place we try to give back to those who support us, and it means a lot. I plan to cover Lori's upcoming trial, her third trial, in person from the Maricopa County Courthouse, and we will have a live stream of the trial here at Hidden True Crime, as well as live from the courthouse at lunch and nightly live recaps in the evening. Brandon Boudreaux, to remind all of you and get you up to date, Brandon Boudreaux was shot at after returning home from dropping his children off in 2019. The bullet through the driver's seat window of his car while he pulled into his own driveway and missed his head by inches. Police have said that the gunshot, came from a Jeep Wrangler that was being driven by Alex Cox, Lori Vallow's now deceased brother. After the attempt on Brandon's life, Brandon's own children were deemed dark, just like Tylee and JJ had been, and he had to take his kids into hiding with him. While he was hiding at his parents' home with his children, police body cam footage from Utah actually shows Alex Cox and Brandon's now ex-wife Melanie attempting to trespass and get his kids from Brandon's parents' house. JJ and Tylee at this time had already been murdered at this point. I still get chills thinking about what would have happened if Alex Cox had been able to take the children from that house.
Yeah, he would have killed him. He would have been dead. He's crazy.
Since the shooting that nearly took his life. Brandon, just to update all of you, he finalized his divorce to his ex-wife, Melanie Blowski, who is Lori Vallow's niece, and he has found love again. He deserves all the happiness in the world, and let's hope that this horrific chapter for him and his entire family can have some closure. If you want to understand this case, the specific case about the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux, the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, in better detail before the trial begins next month, we have a full playlist starting with the complete backstory of Lori Vallow, as well as an exclusive interview with Brandon's friend Jess that I really recommend. It explains the horror that she felt. We will also have the pretrial hearing that we just talked about and any additional trial prep. A link to that playlist is also in the description of this episode and in pinned comments. Next month, I have two hopes for next month's trial. May Lori's rack belt be very uncomfortable, and may justice be served.
All right.
Guys, I don't know about you, but I need a little justice. I need to see Jody Hildebrandt panicked and getting arrested. My gavel and my crucifix, and I'm ready to go. Jody, you're going home.
Jody, I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
Yes, yes. That is the aggression that I've been waiting for this whole time. Also, look at this dumb face. What? You're here for what? Get out of the house, Jody. Taser. Tackle her.
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, my eyes are watering. What the fuck? And I don't want to watch this. Yeah, we only speak English in this chat. We don't speak Spanish. Damn, y'all are quiet as fuck. You know that? I'm coloring. Married or single? I'm not married and I'm not single. I'm taken. I have a boyfriend. And yes, guys, I'm sitting here coloring a picture. That's true.
And have no book in her hands.
That's true too, yeah.
She told me the remote was just on the floor.
Oh, your papa found it. Good night. Always watching the top of her head lately. Dawn, no you're not. Just because I'm looking down right now to color. Can you please get rid of Dawn? Hi, Angelo.
I turned on the TV by myself.
Okay. Y'all always say that when I'm coloring about me sleeping though. Yeah, I'm awake. I'm not asleep, you guys. I'm coloring. Oh my god, that's getting obnoxious, y'all. Just delete the just time out the people telling me to go to sleep, please, okay? Or to wake up. Or that I am asleep, or whatever. Whoa, you good? Oh, okay. So this is what I have so far, guys.
There's already the hardest game on Roblox. Glitch made it. Glitch plays Roblox. You know, the little glitch that hangs upon us.
We gotta make sure we know who he's talking about. Yeah, I'm almost done with it for right now. Damn. Oh my god, I'm almost done for now. Okay, this is what we got, guys. Jayhawk, it's because so many people say it when I'm not asleep. Like, if I was asleep, I'd understand, but it gets annoying, you know what I mean? It's just the annoyance of it when we tell people so many times that I'm not asleep, and they see it right there. All they've got to do is read that I'm not. So it just gets obnoxious after a while, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just awkward on YouTube when people think I'm asleep, you know? Oh man, my eye is just watering. Hang on, I'm gonna get a snack. Try not to trip over my cords. I wish we had chili. I would definitely eat it. Dang. A girl can wish, eh? Hang on, guys. Owie. Okay, I'm back, y'all. What's good? My eye just keeps watering.
Having to look at your mom cry or something that you were involved in with a kid that you know maybe a month?
It's hard for me to swallow. I didn't have people like that in my house.
It's pretty sad.
I know where it is.
Another news that we're following this morning, a 15-year-old girl is being charged as an adult. Police say she is responsible for killing another teenager. Prosecutors say Ariana and these two others planned to meet a group of people for a drug deal last July. Instead, they decided to rob them. Prosecutors say Ariana suggested even killing them. They believe her boyfriend pulled a gun and shot and killed the 17-year-old boy who tried to run away. The third suspect was arrested.
This is what I got so far.
Did they tell you anything why we're here today?
We're just talking about Patty's.
What position?
Did you?
Underhand stuff? Good at it?
Yeah.
So, I have some several questions for you. You're not I'm in trouble at this point. I've seen this point that but I'm not trying to get you trouble here because I think you're present at or witnessed some things that are of interest to us. Makes sense? Correct. You saw some stuff that I think we should know about. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? No? So, you're 15?
Me too.
Bunch of cops show up at your house, plug out of your bedroom, and wants to ask,
And it's a 14-year-old girl.
what is this about? It's strange to us. And so kind of feeling you already know what we're doing. Yes? You obviously never run away from home. The more open and honest you are with this now, the easier this goes. Because right now we're trying to solve something that you probably don't have anything to do with. I think you saw some stuff. I'm curious as to what you're going to talk about. It's obviously a lot more serious than just running away from home. Okay. So you go first. Is she your mom? You're 14 years old. I can ask her to leave. She tells me no. I can't tell.
You don't want me to be here, I don't have to.
I can put a chair right here if you want. Give me that. This lady right here is our secretary, Stephanie. She's got snacks and waters and whatever you need.
Should I just put a chair or?
Yeah, we'll get you a chair. I'll get you a better chair. Don't take it. Yeah, you get it. You want a hand?
No,
Oh, okay.
we'll just kind of hang out right here.
Yeah, not all there.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Better? Go ahead. We asked you for things to happen.
That's crazy.
She's gone. You feel better about that. So, what is it you think I'm asking you? Why are we here today? What could you possibly
Yeah, I
say
agree.
that would make us come and find you and bring you all the way out here to ask you about? Very young, the question hurt that hard. I don't know if he's told you what we do. We work with the Violent Crimes Bureau. We do robberies, we do shootings, we do murders. We do violent crime that occur in the city of Avondale. Okay? Now, unless you went around shooting a bunch of people last night, you know exactly why you're here. The only thing I can tell you is that we're here trying to get your side because unfortunately you're right in the middle of a very serious investigation. I'm not going to give you all the answers because there's no need to if you were there. So the best thing you could probably do is just tell us what you know without us having to ask you questions. That's the most honest answer. If we have to ask you, then we're just asking questions that we probably already know. If you just tell us from the very beginning to the very end of what happened that night, it appears it's coming more from your heart and being more truthful. You see what you understand? That's all I can ask.
Crazy.
So when he's asking you, you shouldn't be thinking about things unless you committed a bunch of crimes in the last 3 nights. There's something very specific that not a lot of people go through in their entire lives, let alone 14 years of being on this earth. Okay? Tim and myself have interviewed a lot of people dealing with a lot of violent crimes. We're trying to give you the opportunity to show some remorse for what happened, whether you were strictly involved or not.
I just feel like, I can't really, like, speak to the cops about it, because there's this thing something will happen, so I don't, like, really talk.
You don't feel like you can talk to who?
Like, the cops, because there's just something that happened, and it's like, if you, is it fine if I just bring it up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's this incident where, like, I think it's my friend's snitch or whatever, and the cops gave the person she's on paperwork, and it said her name and everybody was supposed to be, so I don't want people to be like, I'm a snitch.
Okay. Yeah, we get that all the time. I actually was talking to a guy last week, so I can't tell you because I don't know if she's already in prison. But the only thing I can tell people that want to play the snitch game is, unfortunately, the investigation that you're in is very, very serious. And you can either throw your trust in the street game and pretend that all these friends are going to be there for you later on in life, which I can almost guarantee you they're not. And say, oh, I can't talk because I don't want to be a snitch. Or we can get this taken care of now, so that way when you turn 15, 16, or you become 18 and an adult, you're not having to deal with this over the next 4, 5, 6 years. We don't give out paperwork. So anything that you tell me or him today, we don't go around handing out, we can't. We're not allowed to. So I don't know what agency that was, what police department that was, I don't know what state it was in, but we can't hand out police reports. And I would never go to another
Okay, I'm done
witness
listening
that's
to this. It's boring as fuck. This says a case almost too twisted to mention. Let's listen.
I think we've uncovered a motive. We've uncovered some very valuable information. We started to dig really deep into the online world of Tyler. We started checking everything. We were digging. We spent days and hours of it.
J-Man, yay, I'm glad you're here, man. I just woke up from a nap. Sounds like a fun time. Girl realizes she killed her best friend.
I don't know what exactly happened, but I went like this.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That they were supposed to be fighting. I didn't see no knife input or nothing. I said no shit.
It's March 2023 in a parking lot in Columbus, Ohio, where the broken bond of two former friends has just left one fighting for her life and another on the run.
I know. Stay back, all right? Hey, you gotta let them do their work, okay? Come on, guys, get back up. Did anyone see what he got stabbed with? He's asking. What did he get stabbed with? You don't know? They don't know. Hey, man, just let him work. Bro. Yeah, see, just let him work, man. Just let him work. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what we're supposed to be fighting. I didn't see no knife.
Crazy. No, why my eye watering? I don't know why it is.
What's his name? Halia Blue. Halia Blue. Halia Blue. That's all I know. Halia. Where's my little... Did anyone see it? The girl did. She's the only one. She's our only witness. Okay. Let's go. Where are they going? Riverside?
3 different types of antibiotics. Wow, J-Man. Hopefully they help
Rushed to
good.
the scene and find 17-year-old Halia Culbertson with an apparent stab wound to her neck. The teen is rushed to the hospital while officers stay behind to talk to witnesses. Let's see what they have to say.
You're standing right there? All right. Is that from... That's him? Okay. All right, come on. You got any ID on you, bud?
I do in my wallet, but I can give you my name, my birthday, and my social.
Where's your wallet at?
In my mom.
All right. Let's go ahead and have a seat right here.
My sister.
It's your sister that got caught?
No, she's not blood related, but I've known her since she was 12.
Okay, so a good friend of yours?
Yeah,
all right.
man.
So what, did you see what happened? You
Man, I got that on video, man. I don't even know where the fuck she got stabbed at, bro. Slow down, bro. It was beefing inside the square. Get it over with, bro. Country, get it over with, Halia. Yeah, country, Halia. Country, Halia. Country, Halia. She got stabbed right there. Saw all the blood come out, bro.
The girl in the orange is the one that got cut?
The girl in the orange is the one who got cut.
Okay. All right. Yeah, here, let me have your phone. All right, here, I gotta have you sit right here, man. Hey. I need you to just hang out in here, okay?
He called him babe.
One witness says he caught the entire fight on video. Moments later, another officer arrives to get a closer look.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole video. I just saw the altercation. And then something happened. I had to put him in the car. And I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it's good video. He's standing maybe 10 feet from him, recording in full HD with his iPhone.
That'll do it. These cameras are insane.
Yeah.
We had that phone secured with hands.
Oh yeah.
Airplane mode and all that good stuff?
No, not it.
I would put it on airplane mode just so I don't think it's going to happen because they're being cooperative, but that way there's no risk of somebody remote accessing it.
Can you unlock that for me?
If I watch it real quick, buddy. Does it show the car on there at all?
Actually, might. Hold on, come here.
Just start it from...
Am I allowed to come out?
Yeah, just stay right there.
Hey, get off my sister, bro.
Brother, hold it.
Yep, go ahead. Aaliyah's the one in the orange. Put my phone down, bro. Aaliyah, country, get it over with, bro. Country, get it over with, Aaliyah.
Who's Halia to you?
Aaliyah, my little, she's like my this time. Aaliyah, country, Aaliyah. But you could tell she started bleeding in the entire fight. You better get your girl before she gets up even more. So I saved you down there, you could tell. But I'm gonna save you. I might.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put your phone on airplane mode, buddy.
Yes, sir. You do
And then
what
I'm
you
going
need
to
to
sit
do.
right on the dash, like right where it was.
Yes, sir. You do what you need to do, man.
All right, thank you, boss.
Next, investigators check in with another witness.
He said they...
Morning, Bama.
Got in a fight. Go ahead.
They got into a fight, and Halia walked to the front door of the Jeep, I saw she had a gash on her. She got in the car and she goes, I'm getting nauseous. I hopped out the car. I called 911 because I didn't see the fight. I was sitting in the Jeep looking away because I can't be part of that
You
family.
didn't see the actual fight?
No, but I know who Brie Berzini is. I know her mother and I know her address.
Okay. All right, hang out for me, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Multiple witnesses identify the stabbing suspect as now 20-year-old Brianna Barozzini, who's nowhere to be found on the scene.
What he said. Clear as day. You can see their faces on video. If I would have known my sister was going to get stabbed between a fight, like I know it's bad to say, So Bree was fighting with... Bree and Halia were supposed to be fighting while they were in the Columbus Square. Was this like a planned thing or what? No, it was random as she came in while we came in. Like it was random as... In the smoke shop? Yeah, in the smoke shop right there. Okay. It just happened to come in and they started going at it in the store. And Bree called Halia a cokehead. Okay. Halia is a sober, like she's a recovering addict. So she took that into great offense. You know, I don't know if you've met any recovering addicts, but like me personally, I'm one. Who was an addict? I'm sorry. Halia. Halia was an addict. So and she called Halia out on being a cokehead. Yeah. So like Halia got mad and Halia was waiting outside and they were supposed to just fight. It was supposed to be a fight. Like I was there. I was supposed to be like in between it. I didn't even see a knife get pulled. Like, I'm not sure if it was a knife or if she had a ring on her finger and just got her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the knife got pulled out and it was on the ground and I saw it. What kind of knife was it? It looked like a switchblade, like a butterfly knife type of knife. But I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. But she didn't have time to pull it out because Halia, like, I'm not going to lie, that's my little sister, but she smacked the out of her first. Like, you can see it on the video. Right. Halia smacked her. All you saw from that was hands on hands. There was no like digging into pockets and pulling out and going like, you know what I'm saying? Right. There was none of that. Cause if I would have seen that, I would have already been in there and y'all would have been called sooner. We didn't know she was bleeding out till she got it back. She crunched Bree in the face. Bree was on the ground and she walked away. Leah walked away, got on the Jeep ready to drive. Right. And she was sitting there and comes over to me and goes, she's spitting blood out of her chest. And I come over and I just see right in this area on the right or left side of her chest, shooting blood. My first reaction is take my shirt off, put it on top, put pressure on it. I've had my brothers die in my arms because they got shot and I didn't put pressure on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't put pressure fast enough. So like. That's rough, buddy. Man, just please save my sister, bro. Okay.
Despite life-saving efforts, Halia Culbertson was later pronounced dead after succumbing to her injuries. Officers finished gathering details and try to paint a picture of what allegedly happened while waiting for detectives to arrive.
So is this a DV thing or no?
No, this was two girls, two friends, and the video is unbelievable.
Where's the video?
On his cell phone. It's his sister, not biological sister. It's one of his best friends.
That went to the hospital. She was transported.
So they're all standing out here arguing, and he's sitting there. Your typical street fight video, and everyone's like punch her, blah blah blah, and he's standing from me to you away, videotaping that. And all of a sudden they start swinging at each other. Well, one girl, suspect, had something in her hand and got her right in the throat. Yeah, his video is perfect.
It's not long until the stabbing suspect gets a knock at her door and realizes she's not getting away from this so easily.
Do you have anything sharp on you? Anything I need to know about? Just what? Okay.
RJ, man. It is sad, dude.
I'm gonna need to hold your view. Okay? And like I said, when you get this back, I'll have this back too, okay? Alright, come on this way. for me?
Yeah.
Radio car 60.
I'm just gonna take my lipstick off.
I'm gonna need you to start.
Yeah, it's hella sad, man.
231 Hen Oak Court.
Next, Brianna is taken to an interrogation room where detectives have a few questions for her.
Alright, so just kind of, I guess, start from just where you were at earlier tonight, who you were with, kind of what you were doing, sort of stuff.
Hey, well, me and my friend left my house. I was here around like 8:45 and we were hanging out all night. And
Did he come pick you up?
And we went to the square.
So they were 161?
To get drinks and stuff.
Why did you guys choose that one? That's not real close to Westerville.
We always go there. That's just the spot we've gone for years. And we walk in, and I'm grabbing my drinks and stuff, and I hear two girls' voices, the ones that don't like me. And I ignore it. I'm on the phone with my brother. I have my brother on the phone beside me. We grab our drinks and walk up to check out, and they see me, and they just start running their mouth. Them.
Who were the girls?
It was Leah Culbertson, and I don't know who the dude was, but he was definitely the loudest. But they just kept instigating, trying to get me to fight them, and I was like, you're not worth it. You're not worth it, I'm done, I'm not doing it. And even the guy working had told them to get out. And they said they were going to wait for me outside.
What does this all stem from? Like, what's the animosity?
Halia used to be a really good friend of mine. And then I found out a lot that
For sure, Bama.
she's just a really bad person. So I stopped being friends with her, and my friend stopped talking to her. And then after that, she pretty much just went crazy, like saying she was going to kill us and slash his tires and do all these things, and like she does to most people. There's a few people out there that she's done that to.
Slash your tires and that.
I don't know specifically if she has actually slashed them on tires, but she threatens a lot of people to kill them. And so, the guy working at the smoke shop, we were checking out, he checked us out, and he was like, wait, I'm going to make sure they leave. So he walks out, and he looks like he's just standing there. So I think he told him to leave, and then when we walk out, they were by a Jeep. I think it was a silver Jeep. And they're screaming at me, and then the dude tells Halia to run up on me. And she's walking up, and I keep telling her, I'm not fighting you, back up, so you're not worth it. I keep telling her to back up, and I get my knife out in my hand. And I'm holding it, I said, back up. And she attacks me. She first slapped me. She was pushing me. Well, before that, I was trying to push her away from me, but the other guy was yelling at him not to touch her, or else he was going to do something to him. And I just kept backing up, and then she just attacked me, and I don't know what exactly happened, but I went like this, and then she dragged me by my hair on the ground, and there was just blood in my eyes. I couldn't see anything, but I don't think I hit her or anything, because I was on the ground getting blood out of my eyes. I had no idea what was going on. I was just in shock at that point.
Did you catch that? Brianna tells detectives she and Aaliyah were once, quote, really good friends before the fatal incident. Let's continue.
Or do you think it was just Aaliyah?
I don't know. She was really amped up, and I have no idea why. With me even saying, I'm not fighting you, she was just amped up, and they were instigating.
Sit down. Before any blows, like any hitting or anything like that, you pull the knife out and hold it to your side, right?
Yeah,
That's
I was
what you said.
backing up away from her.
Was it open or shut?
Open.
Okay. Is it a knife you have to? We haven't seen the knife. Is it a knife you has a sheath, or is it like a pocket knife, or?
It's like a pocket knife.
It's like folds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so then once you pulled it out, you opened it up immediately?
No, it wasn't immediate.
Okay.
But I had it there, and then when she kept getting closer, that's when I opened it.
Okay. Do you remember swinging the knife at her?
Not really.
You
It all happened like really fast.
Yeah. Now, do you remember, did you swing the knife at her as you were backing up or going forward?
I think I was backing up because I was trying to I think I was putting space in between us by doing that.
It all happened pretty quick.
Yes.
Brianna admits to holding the knife, but says she doesn't remember striking the victim. Next, detectives have some questions about that missing evidence.
The last time I saw Holly at the social buy was with her, and that was probably 4 or 5 months ago. Maybe, or whenever October was. I think that's when we stopped being friends, was in October or September. And then I've never seen her before. I heard she went there, but I never saw her.
It's kind of like a hangout type place.
No, I don't usually hang out there. I don't know. They were there for a while, I think, because they were just standing there talking when we walked in. Yeah, we just went in to get drinks, and because we were about to head back to my house.
And then afterwards, what all happened? With you?
I called my mom on the way home. Well, my brother was on the phone, so he was already in his truck. He was going to head to me because he was worried. And I told him just to head home because I was going to head home. I called my mom, told her what happened. I got home and explained it better to them. And I showered. And I just was in my room.
What did you do with the clothes and the knife?
The clothes, I threw them on the ground. I think my brother put them downstairs in the laundry room. And the knife, I don't remember who I handed it to. I just wanted it all away from me, so.
You don't know what happened to us, though?
Yeah, I don't know where they put it or anything, no.
But you took it into the house? So during the fire, when
Damn, this girl.
What happened with the knife during that time?
She is fucked up. She did try to get rid of the evidence, yeah.
And then did you pick the knife up after they went back to the car?
I let go of me, yeah. I think I left the stuff on the ground.
Oh, the stuff from the store?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know she had been cut at that point?
I didn't know if it was me or her, because they were yelling, saying that, they were laughing, saying that she made me bleed, so I was like, maybe there's a cut on me. But then I was looking all over myself. When we got in the car, I was like, I don't think it's me. Because she was just kept hitting. I couldn't see anything because my hair was just everywhere.
Hair was in your face and all that? But then you realized that if it wasn't you, it had to have been her once you were in the car?
Yeah, because as soon as we got in the car, we left. We didn't
drove out of there, yeah.
I wanted no part of it anymore.
Did you call the police at all?
No, I didn't know what to do. I thought police would come to my house, like, fast. And then when they didn't, I just went to bed.
Prosecutors later revealed the knife was allegedly found in a crawl space at Brianna's home, along with the shoes she was wearing. Next, detectives break the unfortunate news to the suspect.
Just so that you know, Talia was taken to the hospital. that's where she died. She didn't survive her injuries. So with all the people that we interviewed and the video that we recovered, we're charging you with murder.
No sort of self-defense or anything?
Essentially, it'll be up to the prosecutor's office. We'll present the case to them, and then if they decided that they want us to present to the grand jury, we'll present to the grand jury. If you get indicted for it, then it'll go to trial, it'll go to court, and then you'll be able to present a self-defense claim at that point. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions for me at this time? Do you want me to call your mom right now, or do you want to call her? You'll get a call when you get to the county jail.
I'm not going home.
No, you're going to jail. Because we're charging you with the murder.
Brianna was charged with murder before officers arrived to take her to the county jail.
You'll stand up for me. Against the wall.
Put your palms together like this. There you go. Lift your hands off your back a little bit. So we're gonna run downstairs, get your picture taken, and then head down to Jackson Pike, okay?
More than a year later, Brianna makes an important decision.
Stand up for me, please. I have in the computer a 3-page entry of guilty plea form. The document looks like you signed it and your lawyer signed it. Did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
In signing it, you're telling me you want to admit to a felony 3 crime called involuntary manslaughter. When you plead guilty, it is a complete admission you're guilty. You're going to be convicted today and you're going to be sentenced on July the 11th. It'll be on your record. It's a non-expungable offense. It carries up to 3 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. Do you understand the nature of the charge to which you're pleading guilty and what the maximum penalties are?
Yes, Your Honor.
After over a year of litigation, Brianna ultimately accepted a deal and pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter. She was sentenced to 3 years behind bars with the possibility of early release.
On April 23, 2022, officers from the Milwaukee Police Department in Wisconsin responded to a slew of 911 calls. One caller, Kashawn Rowley, shared that he was at his girlfriend Leah Davis's apartment and she was shot.
You hear any gunshots?
Over here? Hey, come here. Layers! Stand over there. Stand over there. Stand over there. Don't move.
Officers follow Kashawn to Leah's apartment, where they find an unresponsive Leah on the floor, blood coming from her head.
3
A third
years,
officer arrives,
yeah.
and they apprehend Kashawn to
3.
remove him from the room so they can fully attend to Leah.
I don't know if I want to watch this one. No.
Hey everybody, it's Anjanette Levy.
And Jesse Weber.
We want
Crime.
I had a man that just came to the door, man, and I don't know what the hell happened.
A young girl is shot in her own home.
He just came in here, and we were all sitting right there.
Who's he?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who this
I
guy
don't have
is?
a clue. I've never seen him in my life.
But figuring out who pulled the trigger is anything but simple.
It's nothing up there. I got raped by a police officer, so please.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Your daughter is dead?
I know that.
And you don't want to tell us who killed your child?
No.
Lord have mercy.
This case actually started with a bunch of question marks.
You need to get Jesus in your heart, because there's a lot of lying going on. And right now, you act like you're part of the devil.
Hi everybody, I'm Jesse Weber and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down some of the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. It's the investigation into the shooting of a 5-year-old girl out in Tennessee. And answering the question of who did this, well, this is one of those situations where it may not be as clear as you think.
Fox County 911.
I got an emergency. This dude was just at my house, and my daughter just got shot, man. Please hurry.
September 14th, 2019. A day then 36-year-old Robin Howington won't soon forget. Because that's when she calls 911 to report her daughter, 5-year-old Destiny Oliver, has been shot.
She just got shot right now, ma'am?
Yes.
Who did it? The guy that just walked up to your door?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Robin.
Robin, where did he shoot her at? In her arm?
It's in her chest.
Okay, so we're on our way now, and she's laying on the couch.
Oh my God, what do I need to do? What do I need to do?
We're coming, Miss Robin.
On September 14th, 2019, a family comes home in Knox, Tennessee, and tragedy unfolds. 911 is called, and what happens next is the discovery of a 5-year-old who'd been shot, a mom, and a 2-year-old who was there to witness it all.
The guy who did that, was he white, black, or Hispanic?
He was black.
What was he wearing?
He had a black shirt on.
Did he say anything when you guys opened the door?
No.
Was he on foot or was he in a car, Miss Robin?
He was in the car. He was in a black Chrysler. I just opened up the door.
Is she able to speak to you at all? Is she conscious at all?
No. Destiny. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Subsequently, the police and EMS responded and found the child on the couch in her living room, bleeding. Robin was sitting on the couch next to her daughter, and she was on the phone talking to someone.
That's like let them do their job. That's what they're trained.
Okay, well, what about him?
We got officers out. All we got right now is a Chrysler 300 with dark tinted windows. How many chunks did you do? Just one?
I think this case actually started with a bunch of question marks.
Detectives have a grieving mother on their hands and a child who's been shot. Now the hunt is on for a possible suspect. At first, they trust Robin Howington's account, but already concerns are beginning to surface.
I was in there.
Okay.
We were all in there. And the door was open like it is now.
Okay, and what happened?
He just came in here, and we were all sitting right there.
Who's he?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who this guy
I don't have
is?
a clue. I've never seen him in my life.
The police here are going to really be looking at what Ms. Howington's first statement was, because that really lays the groundwork. Is this someone who's going to be cooperative? Is this someone who could have potential liability here? Some sort of criminal liability? Was this premeditated? Was there an accomplice? And if this was, in fact, a stranger intruder, then the first instance of memory is critical in trying to identify that person.
I didn't even realize he was in here till it was already...
And when he shot, what happened? Did he say anything?
Nothing. He looked like he was surprised because she just went limp.
As soon as they enter this crime scene, I think they understand that something is not right. They saw a mother who was genuinely grieving, which I believe that she was, and I think they believe that she was. But the circumstances surrounding the actual death of Destiny were very suspicious. Who do you live here with? Do you
It's just me and my kids.
You and your kids, okay?
Yes.
I've got a brief little statement from her, and let's go ahead and get her over to the hospital and check on the status of her daughter. Destiny is rushed to an area hospital, and her mother is taken by a police vehicle following behind.
What we're going to have happen here is you can check on your child and everything, and they'll keep you updated, okay? And then we're going to stand by for the investigator to come to the hospital, okay?
Can you do that, please? Can you do what I just texted you? Somebody shot Destiny. I need you to come to me, please. My phone's about to die. Did they say anything about how she was?
Ma'am, I have not heard a thing about that.
But unfortunately, once they arrive, they're too late. Little 5-year-old Destiny is declared dead.
Destiny suffered a wound from one gunshot. So she had a chest wound and a hand wound. The hand wound might have been a defensive wound, or perhaps she was simply moving her hands when the shot was fired.
We were finding out from family members that Destiny was this happy child who loved to play. She's a 5-year-old child like any other young girl, you know. She likes to have fun. She likes to watch TV. Robin Hollington had an ex, Antoine Oliver, and that was actually Destiny's father. And then she also had a boyfriend, and his name was Daniel, but his nickname was Callie.
While at the hospital, Howington's behavior stands out to investigators.
Hang your phone right now. Hang your phone.
The police know that she's on her phone in the cruiser. They hear her talking to people. They still don't know what's going on, so they ask her for her phone. And what they get back is soaking wet.
You need to get out here, okay? You're going to talk to the doctor. I have it in my hand right now. We're standing by in the lobby for the doctor. She tried to pass it off to somebody. Why are you trying to give your phone away?
Why doesn't she give my phone away?
She tried to give her phone to somebody in the bathroom. After she realizes she can't give it away to this stranger, she ran it through the water in the bathroom and tried to basically make it not turn on.
Detectives need to uncover the truth, and in order to do that, they have to have a more in-depth conversation with Robin Howington.
We're not the drug police. I don't give a if you're selling 10 pounds of weed a week. I don't care. You're not going to get trouble from me. Your daughter's dead. And I just want you to be honest with us, okay? So just be honest. We know some things now. We're getting our P's and Q's together, so we're going to come back and don't lie to us.
Robin Hollington had minor run-ins with the law in her past. She had been arrested and convicted for DUI, more lower-level offenses. She wasn't someone that the authorities would characterize as someone who was a known felon, so to speak. In this instance, she attempted to destroy her cell phone. If I'm an investigator, I'm going to key in on that cell phone.
Is there any other way you can find somebody's number so you can let people know?
I mean, I know my mom's number by heart, but I really don't talk to nobody. I told you, ever since I got raped by a police officer, I really just distance myself from everybody and made my life just about my kids.
Robin Howington was a mother who had a past. She said that she was raped by an officer, a police officer in Tri-Cities, and that had traumatized her.
And when asked about her phone, things get heated.
At the hospital, you said you had to go to the bathroom, right? And you tried to give your phone to some lady, correct? And she wouldn't take it.
I mean, how you gonna charge me with something?
What did you do with the phone?
I don't want to talk, man, because I'm afraid.
Your child is dead, and you don't want to talk.
She is telling them basically that she cannot really handle that situation. She's telling them, I was trying to get rid of my phone because I thought you were going to arrest me for drugs or marijuana.
So what you're telling us is you don't care.
It's not that I don't care. I got raped by a police officer, so please.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Your daughter is dead?
I know that.
And you don't want to tell us who killed your child?
No.
Lord have mercy. Do you have a heart? Do you have a soul?
She's had no time to grieve. She's had no time to process this. Robin is taken to the police station after watching her daughter die. And this is what the police know as they walk into the interrogation. They have come to a home. They have seen a mom who they don't feel is acting appropriate. Then you get to the hospital where she does what she does with the phone. And they have real questions as to her actions.
You're right. No, she will be charged. You're going to be charged with tampering. That's tampering with evidence. I'm serious to God. You're going to go to jail for that tonight.
What did I tell you about the weed?
Did you get killed?
I don't care about weed. He don't care about what.
Yeah, I promise we don't give a
Your child is deceased. That's what we care about, okay? And a lot of the things so far have not been matching up. They're not making sense. And the fact you try to get rid of your phone doesn't help all this stuff.
Who else here right now?
You can never put yourself in the shoes of someone who's just witnessed something so horrible. And so if someone doesn't react within sort of the emotional guidelines that you expect yourself to react in, you think it's weird. So those red flags have already been raised.
When the doctor told you what you say, I want them in jail.
Yes, I do.
The only way we can get that done is if you tell us the truth and be helpful with us.
We just came home from the park, and I thought somebody was following me. And so I went down the alley, and nobody followed me. And then I didn't think nothing about it. She was laying on the couch, and Gavin was sitting right beside me, and somebody came to the door.
What's interesting was she was able to remember certain details, but there were other details she was unable to elaborate on. Whether or not that raised the eyebrows of police at that time is difficult to say. I would certainly say that what raised the eyebrows of police would be an intruder coming into a home, and the only one that is injured is this small child.
Was she talking to you or anything?
And I kept on trying to talk to her.
Me too, Zane.
She didn't say nothing.
Do you think she saw the guy? Maybe she tried to put her hands up or something?
I don't know. It happened so fast.
They just want to know what happened. They're trying to get the truth. This is critical in these first few hours. What's going to lead their investigation? Who are they going to focus on?
At this stage, detectives are uncertain how this investigation may unfold, but it's clear there's more to this story, and soon, new developments take this case down a completely different path.
Do you think he'd ever do anything to try to hurt Destiny?
I can't really answer that because I'm not around. I mean, he won't even let me know where he lives. And she's scared of him. When he shot, it was like his eyes got big. I just don't feel like it was meant for her.
The start of the investigation into the shooting death of 5-year-old Destiny Oliver is leaving detectives with more questions than answers as they sift through the evidence and statements made by her mother, Robin Howington. Just as they begin to piece together a possible scenario, the story takes an unexpected turn.
You don't have either of the kids' dad or a male friend that spends the night something.
I mean, yeah, yes, I do.
Who was that?
His name is Daniel.
Daniel
Hensley.
What's the deal with her dad? If you're not with her and some other guy's coming over there, what's the deal with Destiny's dad?
He got an aggravated assault charge. He's the reason why I don't have my son, because he beat me to the point where I was unconscious. So we really don't get along at all.
Robin Howington and Antoine Oliver, who was Robin's ex and Destiny's father, had a history of domestic violence between them. They certainly had this tumultuous history, and that was known to the authorities.
He don't know a lot of people around here, so like I turn him on to people or let him meet people.
You middleman for him, because you said people text you trying to get weed for them. I saw some reports of him had a pretty...
Yes, he's very violent. Yes, extremely violent.
And you hadn't seen him today?
No. I talked to him today, and actually Destiny had called her, but she's scared of him, so she didn't want to talk to him.
I don't think that she explicitly says she was scared of him because of the abuse, but I think that it was implied just because of his record, and he has like a previous record, and he has been charged.
Why is she afraid of him, though?
I really don't know, because I mean, he's seen her be very cruelty and talk bad to me.
Do you think he would ever do anything to try to hurt Destiny?
I can't really answer that.
Days before Destiny was shot and killed, Howington had an altercation with Antoine. She said they were in front of the house fighting.
Her current boyfriend, Daniel, did mention that he observed her point a gun at Oliver.
Would Antoine just show up at your house?
Yes, he does.
Well, you think he would just show up mad at you?
Oh, he has,
Maybe.
definitely. I know it wasn't Antoine. I can promise you it wasn't Antoine, but I mean, he sells drugs. People are going to do whatever for him. That's one thing I can't say.
She changes her story again. That it could have been one of Antoine or Callie's associates. Because now she starts getting into the fact that, I actually do sell some drugs in the area. I sell some pills. He sells pills with me. Maybe it was one of his contacts, one of his people.
Just saying, you know it wasn't him, but you don't know who the guy was that came in. And you're saying that it was one shot, but we're not finding any bullets there at the house.
What's odd about this situation, you have a girl who was shot, and so if there was a perpetrator who came into the house and did this, they might have escaped with the murder weapon. But there should be bullets left behind. There should be shell casings left behind.
I don't know if maybe you're scared, so maybe you're forgetting something or you're changing a little bit, but did this happen at the house?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was right there.
They looked in the walls, they looked on the floor, they looked around the room in which Destiny was shot in, and they just don't find anything. They start to wonder, well, did this even happen here? Was she shot somewhere else and then brought to this location to stage a shooting there?
The interview finally hits on the very thread detectives have been pulling.
She's been straight up with you. I feel like it's her dad. I feel like you don't want to tell us that.
I think he's hit the nail on the head. I don't think he intended to kill the little girl. He said, "Oh, I've shot
That's
my
why
baby."
his eyes got big. I'm telling you, I know.
You're right. Okay, you're right. I'm done. I can't do it.
They've got people investigating her. They've got people who know kind of maybe the story of Miss Howington's life a little bit better. And the history between her and her ex is well known. And so I think the police are coming up with theories that they think are more likely to watch what the reaction is.
Why didn't you tell us that earlier?
Because, I mean, this is his daughter, too. I know that he killed her, but I just don't feel like he did it on purpose. I feel like he was trying to kill me.
They put this in front of Miss Howington, that maybe your ex did it. We know that Destiny was scared of him, right? And we know that there were all these problems between the two of you. And they kind of lead her down this path, and so they sort of give her this out. And you can see she latches onto it.
We're going to still show you a lineup, right?
Yes, sir.
The police showed Robin a photo lineup, a photo array, which usually has 3 photos on top and 3 on the bottom. And the photo array contained Antoine's photo. And she picked out Antoine out of that lineup.
I'm going to show you 6 pictures. You tell me the person.
I think...
You tell me the person, and you circle the person that shot and killed your daughter.
Now this is interesting.
No, I didn't knock out.
Kind of don't normally show a photo array to someone if the
Bro, you're getting timed out for that shit.
Person. But it would tend to show perhaps
It's not true.
they
Don't be
didn't
fucking
necessarily
annoying.
believe her.
The police from the beginning said that they didn't think this was a random person opening her
because I'm
door
listening to the
and
fucking
deciding
video.
to shoot her daughter. So police
Hitting
went
my
back and
vape
saw
off
that
cam.
Antoine had a domestic violence history. They just thought that's the guy.
This huge revelation seemingly inches the case closer to the truth. But a major break comes when a discovery at Robin Howington's home shifts the investigation.
What's the chances that you were scared today?
Guys, I'm restarting the live. Come to the new one, okay?
No.
Come to the new one.